I tried to publicly shame my boyfriend for not texting back. Now my world is silent. My apartment is dark. It's been dark for a while, I think. The only light is from my phone screen, and it feels harsh, almost accusatory. My thumb just keeps swiping up, a useless, repetitive motion over a ghost. The Facebook post isn't there anymore. I deleted it yesterday in a frantic, tear-soaked panic, but it doesn't matter. The comments are burned into the back of my eyelids. Caleb deserves so much better. This is a walking red flag. Girl, what is wrong with you? My world is so quiet now. The kind of quiet that rings in your ears. No dings from incoming messages. No vibration from a call. Just silence. A thick, heavy blanket of silence that I stitched together with my own two hands. This is the aftermath. This is the disaster scene I created. And I'm just sitting here, the sole resident of the crater. It all started yesterday afternoon. God, was it only yesterday? It feels like a different lifetime. The trigger was so small, so laughably insignificant, that saying it out loud makes my stomach clench with shame. I sent Caleb a text. That was it. A simple, harmless text. Hey, thinking about that little Mexican place for dinner, the one with the killer margaritas. Let me know. I saw the little blue check marks on WhatsApp. Read, and then nothing. The first minute, I didn't think anything of it. He was probably finishing up at the office, maybe talking to his boss. 5 minutes passed. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Maybe I should send a follow-up? No, don't be that girl, Daphne. A tiny, rational voice in my head, the one that sounds like my therapist, tried to reason with me. Daphne, he works at a brokerage firm. He can't always be on his phone. But that voice was drowned out by a much louder, more venomous whisper, the one that sounded like my ex, Adam. 10 minutes. The little seed of anxiety started to sprout. I could feel it, you know? The same physical reaction I used to have with Adam. The cold sweat on my palms. The way my breathing gets shallow, like I can't get enough air. He used to do this for sport, I think. Leave me on read for hours, sometimes a whole day, just to watch me unravel when he finally sauntered back into my DMs with a casual hey you up. He trained me to see a read receipt as a silent slap in the face. A prelude to being discarded. 30 minutes. The dread was a full-blown tree inside my chest, its branches scraping against my ribs. I started pacing. From the kitchen to the living room window, then back. I must have picked up my phone 50 times. I checked his WhatsApp, last seen status until the words blurred together. I even opened Instagram, my heart pounding, looking for that little green dot next to his name. Nothing. The digital void was screaming at me. My mind started playing its greatest hits of catastrophic scenarios. He's been in an accident. He's ignoring me. He's with someone else. He's finally realized what a mess I am and is planning his escape. An hour, one solid hour of radio silence. By the time the clock on the microwave showed that a full 60 minutes had passed, logic had not just left the building. It had been gagged, bound, and thrown out of a moving car. The silence wasn't just silence anymore. It was a statement. It was a deliberate choice. In my mind, it was the deafening sound of him pulling away, the first step in the slow, agonizing dance of abandonment I knew all too well. And I just couldn't bear it. In that moment, perched on the absolute peak of my panic, I did it. It wasn't a thought, not really. It was more like a chemical reaction, a surge of pure, self-destructive impulse that bypassed my brain entirely. My mind was just static, you know? Pure, screaming static, and the only way to make it stop was to do something loud. Something irreversible. My hands were shaking, but my fingers moved with a terrifying certainty. I took a screenshot. The image was so pathetic, so utterly mundane. Just my bright, cheerful bubble with the dinner invitation, and beneath it, nothing but the stark, blue evidence of my rejection. Read. I even took a second to crop it perfectly, making sure to cut out any of our older, happier messages from the top of the screen. I didn't want context. I just wanted the cold, hard proof of my current misery. Then I opened Facebook. I didn't even hesitate. My thumb flew to the "What's on your mind?" box. For a second, I thought about what to write, how to perfectly frame my victimhood. I needed a caption that was dripping with the kind of melodrama that would make people stop scrolling. This is why I'll never be happy. Can't even get a simple text back. I read it back to myself. Yeah, that sounded right. Tragic but not too desperate. Wounded but not weak. Or so I foolishly thought. I attached the screenshot. my little piece of evidence for the court of public opinion, and my finger hovered over the blue post button. A tiny, sane part of my brain screamed at me to stop. Daphne, don't. This is insane. Just call him. But the roaring inferno of my anxiety consumed that little voice in a heartbeat. I hit post. God, the rush I felt for about 5 seconds. It was sick. It was this twisted surge of adrenaline, a feeling of vindication. I wasn't just a girl waiting by her phone anymore. I had taken my pain, this raw, screaming anxiety in my chest, and I had made it public. I had turned my private hurt into a public spectacle. I leaned back on the couch, my heart still hammering, and waited for the notifications to roll in. I could already picture them, a wave of digital sympathy washing over me, telling me I wasn't crazy, that he was the asshole, that I deserved so much better. I had sent up my flare, and I was absolutely certain that help was on the way. The notifications started chiming almost immediately. First one, then 3, then a steady, insistent stream. For a moment, that sick feeling of vindication swelled in my chest. See? People get it. They see what he's doing. I opened the app, a smug little smile on my face, ready to bask in the warm glow of validation from my curated audience of friends and acquaintances. And then I read the first comment. It was from a girl I knew from college, not a close friend, but someone in my circle. Maybe he's just busy. A bit dramatic, don't you think? My smile froze. My stomach did a slow, sickening lurch. Dramatic? No, she just didn't understand the context, the history. She didn't know about Adam. I refreshed the page, waiting for someone who really knew me to chime in. The next one popped up. This one from a guy Caleb and I both knew from the gym. Dude, what the hell? This is a really crappy thing to post publicly. Not cool. My blood started to feel like ice water. This wasn't right. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I scrolled frantically, my thumbs shaking. More comments were pouring in, a relentless, brutal tide of reality. Wow, this post is the real red flag here. Honey, delete this. You're embarrassing yourself. An hour? My boss doesn't let me look at my phone for 3-hour stretches. Get a grip. Poor Caleb. Poor Caleb. The words seemed to jump off the screen and slap me. They were feeling sorry for him. My panic began to morph into a hot, defensive rage. They didn't get it. They didn't see the pattern. They didn't understand that this wasn't just about a text message. It was about respect, about feeling prioritized, about what exactly? Even as I tried to form the argument in my head, it crumbled. Each comment was a punch to the gut. They weren't siding with me. They were siding with him. They were looking at the exact same evidence I was, and they were seeing a completely different story. In their version, I wasn't the victim. I was the villain. I was the crazy girlfriend, the drama queen, the walking red flag. The echo chamber I had tried to build had become a hall of mirrors, each one reflecting back a distorted, horrifying version of myself that I didn't want to see. The final, fatal blow came from my own friend, Jessica, a mutual friend. Someone I thought would be on my team no matter what. She didn't even direct her comment at me. She just wrote, "Caleb is a genuinely good guy. He doesn't deserve to be humiliated like this over a mistext." That's when the shame hit me. It was a physical sensation, a hot, suffocating wave that started in my toes and washed over me until my face was burning. Jessica's comment, so simple and so direct, cut through all my self-pitying justifications. It wasn't just strangers judging me, it was someone who knew us both. And she had passed her verdict. They were right, all of them. What had I done? This wasn't a flare. It was a bomb, and I had just detonated it in the middle of my own life. Throughout the entire public execution, Caleb remained silent. He didn't comment on the post. He didn't like any of the comments defending him. He didn't call me, screaming and yelling, which is what I almost would have preferred. I was braced for a fight, ready to defend myself with a tearful monologue about my past and my insecurities. Anything would have been better than the absolute, terrifying void. My fingers, now clumsy with panic, fumbled to delete the post. Gone, as if it never happened. But the damage was done. The digital blood was already in the water, and the sharks had feasted. I immediately switched back to WhatsApp, my whole body trembling. My rage and shame had curdled into a desperate, frantic need to fix it, to explain, to rewind time. "Caleb, I am so sorry. I freaked out. I deleted it. Please just call me." Sent, one gray checkmark. My heart hammered against my ribs. He must have his phone off. That's all. He's driving home. He hasn't seen it yet. I clung to that sliver of hope like a drowning woman. I waited a minute, staring at that single gray checkmark until my eyes burned. Then I typed again, faster this time, the words tumbling out. I know that was a horrible thing to do. I got scared. It reminded me of some old stuff. You know how I get. Please, can we just talk? I'll explain everything. Still one gray checkmark. That's when the real, ice-cold dread began to seep into my bones. I went to his profile picture. I could still see his smiling face from our trip to the coast last summer. Okay, that's a good sign. You can't see the profile pic if you're blocked, right? I tried to call him through the app. It rang once, a hollow, electronic tone, then disconnected. I tried again. Same thing. My hands were slick with sweat as I exited WhatsApp and went to my regular phone app. My thumb hovered over his contact photo, the same smiling picture. I pressed call and jammed the phone to my ear, praying to hear his confused, maybe even angry voice. Instead, it went straight to a cold, robotic female voice. The person you are trying to reach is unavailable at this time. Voicemail, he'd sent me straight to voicemail. He had blocked me. It was a staggered, systematic execution. First WhatsApp, then my actual number. No confrontation. No final, angry tirade. No chance for me to cry and apologize and explain my trauma until he finally gave in. He wasn't just principled. He was surgically precise. He saw the fire I had started, and instead of running towards it to argue, he simply walked away and locked every single door behind him. He had rendered his verdict with the most brutal, efficient, and silent tool he had. The block button. It was a digital beheading. Quick, clean, and absolute. My first instinct was to call Jessica. She was our mutual friend, the one whose comment had felt like a judge's gavel. She was the bridge between our two worlds. If anyone could get through to him, it was her. I dialed her number, my mind racing with a half-baked script of apologies and explanations, practicing the right tone of desperation. She picked up on the third ring. Daphne? Her voice was flat, not angry, just empty, devoid of its usual warmth. It was the voice you use for a telemarketer. Jess, thank God, I started, the words spilling out in a rush. I messed up. I know I messed up so bad. Can you please talk to Caleb for me? He blocked me on everything. I just need to tell him I'm sorry. I can't even leave a voicemail. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. So long, in fact, that I thought she might have hung up. I could hear the faint sound of a TV in the background. Daphne, she finally said, and her tone was so careful, so deliberate, it was like she was navigating a minefield. I don't think I can do that. I really don't want to be in the middle of this. The awkwardness was a physical thing, a heavy static on the line between us. This was the friend who had held my hair back when I had food poisoning, the one who helped me move into this very apartment, the one I called after every bad day. And now she was treating me like a stranger, like a problem she needed to manage. But you're my friend, I whispered, the words sounding pathetic even to my own ears. Our friend. I am, she said, and it didn't sound convincing at all. Which is why I'm telling you, as your friend, that what you did was really out of line. He's my friend too, and he's really hurt. You and Caleb need to figure this out on your own. Another excruciating pause. Listen, I have to go, my dinner's ready. I'll talk to you later. She hung up before I could say another word. The dial tone buzzed in my ear, a monotonous, mocking sound of total isolation. My friends weren't just refusing to help. They were actively distancing themselves, backing away slowly like I was a wild animal they didn't want to startle. The final, definitive reality check came 2 hours later, after I'd spent the time calling 2 other friends and getting similarly evasive, uncomfortable responses. An unknown number buzzed on my phone. My heart leaped, a wild, stupid hope surging through me. It's Caleb. He's calling from a friend's phone. He's ready to talk. I answered breathlessly, hello. Daphne. Hi, it's Amelia, Caleb's sister. Her voice was polite. Terribly, horribly polite. The kind of polite you use with a difficult customer service agent you're about to report to their manager. Amelia, hi, oh my God, is he with you? Is he okay? Can I talk to him? The questions tumbled out, desperate and needy. He's fine, she said coolly, cutting me off. He's just staying at our parents' place for a bit. He asked me to call you. He said he didn't want this to be messy. A small, sharp laugh escaped her lips, utterly devoid of humor. He was wondering when would be a good time for him to come by and get the rest of his things. The rest of his things. The phrase echoed in the dead air of the apartment after I hung up with Amelia. I walked through the rooms like a ghost, seeing everything through a new, horrifying lens. It wasn't our apartment anymore. It was just mine, temporarily cluttered with the artifacts of a dead relationship. I opened the fridge for a glass of water, and my eyes landed on the carton of oat milk. The expensive kind, the barista blend I loved. He hated it, said it tasted like wet cardboard, but he'd picked up a fresh one on his way home from work just the day before because he knew I was running low. He'd put it right at the front so I wouldn't miss it. A small, silent act of care that now felt like a punch to the stomach. On the little entryway table, next to a pile of mail, sat 2 tickets. I'd forgotten about them. They were for an outdoor music festival the following weekend, a band I'd mentioned offhand that I wanted to see. He must have bought them as a surprise. I picked one up. The cheap paper felt heavy in my hand. He had been planning our future, a whole weekend of it, while I was spiraling into a toxic panic over a 1-hour gap in communication. The most brutal piece of evidence was tucked away in his nightstand drawer. I was looking for a pen, and my fingers brushed against a small, worn leather notebook. It was his journal. I know I shouldn't have, but I opened it. His neat, blocky handwriting filled the page. Most of it was just notes from work, but the last entry, dated a week ago, was different. Talking to Daphne about the Adam stuff again, it's hard to see her get so spun up. That guy really did a number on her. I need to remember it's not about me. It's the old fear talking. Just have to be patient, show her she's safe. I slammed the book shut, a strangled sob escaping my throat. He knew exactly where my craziness came from. He wasn't oblivious or uncaring. He was trying. He was being patient. And I had taken that patience, that understanding, and I had publicly, spectacularly, thrown it back in his face. Which brings me back here, to the dark, to the silence. I'm trapped in a loop, a nauseating, dizzying loop. 1 minute, a wave of pure, hot rage crashes over me. How could he be so cold? So absolute? He's supposed to be this principled, good guy, but what kind of good guy just cuts someone off without a single word? Doesn't even give them a chance to grovel? He could have called. He could have screamed at me. That would have been fair. This silence, this is torture. Then, just as quickly, the rage recedes and the undertow of shame pulls me under. And God, the shame is so much worse. I see my own reflection in the blank screen of my phone, and I hate the person looking back at me. I see the girl who took a good, kind man's patience and used it as a weapon against him. The girl who was so terrified of being abandoned that she created the exact scenario she feared most. I pick up my phone. My thumb hovers over his grayed-out contact. I type out a long, rambling apology, pouring every ounce of my regret into the little text box. Then I delete it all. What's the point? It won't even go through. I open Instagram. His profile is public again. I know I shouldn't, but I can't stop myself. I just keep refreshing, waiting for a sign, a picture, anything. Just a little glimpse into the life that is now moving on, completely and utterly without me.